ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, welcome back to the Bhagavad Gita study group. Thank you all for joining. I hope all of you had a wonderful week. Please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. All right. So now all of us know the difference between Karma Yoga and Karma Sannyas. Right? कर्म संन्यास, सारा कर्म छोड़ देना है. कर्म योग, do all your karma but do it in connection with the Supreme. Right? It's very simple to do karma yoga. It's very hard to do karma sannyas. So Krishna recommends karma yoga at this particular stage in life. Right? Then we've all understood who the three doers are. Right? The Jiva, Prakriti and Ishwar. As Jivatma, all desires are mine. As soon as I have a desire, Ishwar checks कि इसको ये पूरा करना चाहिए या नहीं चाहिए. Right? Based on whatever credit I have, he will either permit or not permit. But as soon as he permits, then Prakriti takes over to facilitate my fulfillment of desire. Right? So ultimately I have to remember that every action that happens, it all starts with a desire, and that desire is mine. Okay? So responsibility for every action is mine. I have free will. Okay? Then of course, we saw that wonderful peace formula. Bhoktaram yajñatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram surhudam sarvabhutanam jñatva mam shantim richati. So if I want Shanti, I have to keep in mind that Bhoktaram of every yajna, every kind of tapas that we do is that Supreme Lord. He is the Supreme Lord, Maha Ishwar of all the universes, and He is the Surhud, the best friend of Sarva Bhutanam. He is the well-wisher for every living entity in all the universes. Right? This chapter 6 that we are currently studying is telling us about this Surhud, this friend, this well-wisher that each one of us has. What we call him is Paramatma. Right? So the 6th chapter talks about Dhyāna Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga in great detail. And that is where the 3rd chapter, Krishna first explained to Arjuna why he should fight the battle. Why he should do his karma. Right? Arjuna was still not convinced. Krishna spoke about Dhyāna Yoga, about getting knowledge. What is this knowledge? This entire sequence of knowledge Krishna spoke about in the 4th chapter, told him the importance of approaching a guru, who should be your guru, all of that he covered. Then in the 5th chapter he said, using this knowledge that I have spoken about, do your karma. When you use knowledge and you do your karma, then that karma becomes nishkama karma. You have no desires for your own self and you're doing karma, which means what you're doing is called akarma. It does not give you pap, it doesn't give you punya, it takes you ahead on your spiritual journey. Okay? And he ends that chapter with, Arjun, I am the Surhud. I am your well-wisher and I am sitting inside your heart as Paramatma. And so suddenly Arjuna is even more intrigued. He says, Ariva, yahi hai Paramatma. then I want to know, how about me just focusing on that Paramatma inside of me? है ना? Why don't I give up all this Karma Yoga, Dhyāna Yoga and all of that and just sit down in Dhyan to sit and focus on that Paramatma inside me? Right? So Arjun clearly knows that our body is made up of 5 koshas, right? And he knows कि अगर मुझे आनंद चाहिए तो I have to go through my Annamaya kosh, my Pranamaya kosh, my Manomaya kosh, my Vijnanamaya kosh, and I have to reach that Anandamaya kosh, right? And for doing that, I have to follow the 8 stages of meditation, Ashtanga Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga. यम नियम का पालन करना होगा, फिर उसके बाद आसन लगाना होगा. Then I have to focus on my breath, which is pranayam. Then I have to learn to say no to all kinds of sense gratification, that is pratyahar. Then I will sit down, focus on the Lord inside me, which is dharana. When dharana continues for a longer time, it is dhyan, and when dhyan gets deeper, it is samadhi. Right? So we understood that there are 8 stages of Ashtanga Yoga. And then we heard Krishna tell Arjuna right in the beginning of the 6th chapter, कि देख Arjun, I don't think you're still ready for this. Instead, please understand that a sannyasi and a yogi are essentially the same. Essentially, all scriptures tell us that all that you have to do is give up the desire to enjoy the fruit of your action. Be like the earth. This earth, it produces so many trees. But does the earth enjoy the fruit? Does the earth enjoy the grain that grows from it? No, right? So we should all try and become like the earth. And then in whichever situation we are, based on our varna, based on our ashram, we should do our duty. Whatever action is proper for that situation, we should do that duty. We should not have pride, we should not have motive, we shouldn't be egoistic, we shouldn't want the fruit, but we should stay in that varnashram and we should perform our duty. Right? So Krishna says it is best for us to become yogis and sannyasis like that, by simply giving up the desire to enjoy fruits of our action. Then Krishna gives a verse which says, जो शुरुआत में जो spirituality में आते हैं, उनके लिए कर्म योग is the best. This, what I am recommending, Nishkama Karma Yoga is the best. But do I have to continue doing yoga for the rest of my life? No, not necessary. Once I have practiced Nishkama Karma Yoga for a long time, and when I have truly given up all desires, then I become very advanced in yoga. And at that point, I can actually give up even Nishkama Karma Yoga and I can sit down to do Ashtanga Yoga. But Krishna says, wait, first you listen to me. What are the characteristics of that person who has controlled his mind? That person absolutely does not engage in sense gratification. Right? He has given up all material desires, and that is possible because he has controlled his mind. Right? Most important, he has used his mind to elevate his Atma. He has made his mind his best friend. Because the mind has become his best friend, he is able to conquer the mind. And Krishna says, Arjun, I am not sure you are at that stage. And if we fail to control our mind becomes our worst enemy. Right? So Krishna again says, देख जिसका मन उसके काबू में होता है, that person is very, very peaceful. Because that person has already found the Paramatma inside. Right? That person, for him, happiness, distress, everything is the same. This person is full of knowledge. Okay? Now Arjuna is thinking, wow, do you really think I can be that kind of person? Right? What Krishna is trying to say is that Jivatma is Brahman. Right? As Jivatmas, we all come from Brahman. Right? And unfortunately, when we touch this material world, we are full of material desires. I've been very blessed. Sheetal just gifted me the Jnaneshwari in English, okay? And I was just reading it and I found such an interesting analogy in that. Dhyan se sunna. How do parrots get trapped? Right? Parrots are such beautiful creatures. They're flying all over, right? I mean, we see parrots and yet we see them being sold in shops. How are these parrots trapped? So, Jnaneshwar Maharaj says, all that you have to do is keep a swing. You know, just hang a swing somewhere. A parrot loves that little rod. You know, just pe wo jaake, he can swing. So, a parrot is flying freely in the air. And he sees this little swing. And he comes and he sits on that rod. Okay? But what that hunter has done is, that rod, wo gol ghumta hai. It's not a steady single rod. As soon as the parrot sits on that rod, that rod turns. You understand what I'm saying? It turns. Now when that rod turns, the parrot gets so scared that what does he do? He holds that rod really tightly. है ना, ऐसे अपनी गर्दन को टाइट कर लेता है, उसकी चेस्ट को कॉन्ट्रैक्ट कर लेता है, and he holds on to that little rung very tightly. In fact, he uses his beak also and holds on to that. He's using his two legs. He bends forward, he puts that rod in his beak and he holds on to that rod. इतना डर जाता है कि oh my God, I'm going to fall. Right? He does not want to let go of that rung. इतने में hunter comes, catches him. Now, do you know what is the irony over here? The irony is that parrot was freely flying in the sky. Right? आके एक सेकंड के लिए रॉड पे बैठा. When that rod turned, the parrot should have simply let go and fly. Parrot को तो उड़ना आता है ना? Parrot का बेसिक स्वभाव क्या है? उड़ना है. Right? That parrot should have simply let go and flown off. Instead, what did he do? He got attached to that stupid rod. He got so attached to it that he held on so tightly that the hunter came and caught him. What is the original swaroop of that parrot? To fly freely in the world. Instead, what did that parrot do? He got caught just because he enjoyed a rod that was swinging. Our lives are like this. Please understand, this is so beautiful. Jivera Swarup hai Krishnera Nityadas. Our original Swarup as Jivatmas is to be Krishna ka Nityadas, is to be always engaged in the service of Krishna. Instead, we touched our rod, this material world, and we got so attached to it that instead of becoming his servers, we became servants to Maya. Right? Just like that parrot who could have easily flown, जाके आकाश चूम लेता, what did we do? We got trapped in this material world. Right? So Krishna is trying to tell us कि you have to understand your original Swarup and enjoy that original Swarup while doing your karma. Right? एकदम आराम से अपने वर्ण और आश्रम के हिसाब से do your karma and don't get entangled in this material world. But Arjuna is thinking, yaar Krishna, you've told me such beautiful things about this person. है ना? This person, he finds gold and pebbles the same. This person can see you within his heart. This person is full of knowledge. Krishna, tell me a little more about Ashtanga Yoga. Right? Even I also might want to become an Ashtanga Yogi. As always, Krishna never says no. Right? He says, all right, Arjun, I will do as you wish. I will tell you about Ashtanga Yoga. So from verse 10 onwards, Krishna starts taking Arjun step by step to how do you practice Ashtanga Yoga so that you will reach Samadhi. Okay? Now I am not going to go through the verses is because none of us are in a situation where we can go off to the mountains and sit in Ashtanga Yoga to attain Samadhi. Okay? But I will go through all the points that Krishna has given so that we can use these points to apply in our limited sadhana that we do every day. Okay, whatever little sadhana we do, let's use the steps of Ashtanga Yoga and apply them to our sadhana. Okay, so first thing Krishna says, so from verse 10 onwards, okay, please note I'm not doing the verses. Okay, I'm just giving you a summary. Krishna says, अगर तुमको अष्टांग योगी भी बनना है, तो you just can't go sit in the mountains and become अष्टांग योगी on day one. No. Preparation is required. Simple, na? Even if you think you're very good at swimming, you can't go to the local pool once a week and think, अच्छा चलो अब मैं Olympics में compete करता हूँ. नहीं ना? You need absolute several hours of practice every single day so that you become a master and you go win that Olympics. Correct? So like that, practice is required even in our spiritual lives. First thing, meditation every single day is what Krishna says. And to practice meditation, what is the first thing we need to do? We need a quiet place. Okay? As long as we are surrounded by this worldly environment, by worldly people, worldly activities, cell phone, while we are surrounded with all of this, it is impossible for us to put our mind towards God. Right? So we need some time in a quiet place where we do not have all of this. Okay? Now you have to understand this. Okay? Many people, like we see sannyasis. And sannyasis are mixing with normal people. Then how are sannyasis able to do that? The example given in Shastra is very beautiful. It says, तुम दूध लो और तुम पानी लो. We are currently like milk. If you pour milk in water, you lose your identity. Correct? Milk loses its identity. Milk becomes very dilute. Correct? If milk is kept separate from water, then it is milk. But if you mix it off in water, then milk loses its identity. We are like that. All of us on this platform who are interested in learning the Bhagavad Gita, we are definitely beginners on the spiritual path. Definitely that much we can give ourselves. Ki yes, we've started our journey. But what happens is, as soon as we mix in the material environment, what happens? We lose our identity. We become इसी में मस्त. चल यार ये मूवी बड़ी अच्छी है, चल यार यहाँ पे खाना बहुत अच्छा है, चलो यार we'll go to this party. Right? Because we are still beginners. But now take that milk, right? Keep it separate from water for some time and make it yogurt. Okay? अब वो yogurt लो, उसको churn करो और butter बनाओ. Now what you can do is put that butter in water. Does butter mix with water? No. पानी के सर पे बैठता है और बोलता है अब देख अब तू कर ले तुझे जो करना है ना? I will not mix with you. So sannyasis are like butter. Sannyasis have sat separately, they became yogurt, then they got churned further, they became butter, and now when they mix with materialistic people, they don't get contaminated. Okay? So for us, it is very important that till we haven't become butter, we need to separate ourselves from this material world very, very regularly so that we will grow in this path of spirituality. Therefore, it is very important that every single day we pull out time for sadhana, right? And when we are doing that sadhana, we should isolate ourselves from other people. Agar your mom and dad or your children or your spouse is sitting and watching TV, and if you think you can sit next to him and do your mal, then you're kidding yourself. You're not doing mal, you're definitely listening to what's happening on TV. Okay? So it's very, very important that we shut ourselves away from the world so that we can purify our mind and we can focus on God. Okay? रोज का आधा घंटा, 20 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever you think is right. right? But we need to do this. So the first thing Krishna says is, go to a place which is away from worldly entanglements. So in our house, it could be in our bedroom, it could be in our study, it could be in, near the altar, whatever. That place should be clean and that place should be quiet. Your cell phone should not be allowed in that place. Right? So we all need to understand that the study of yoga or any kind of sadhana that we want to do can only happen in an environment which is conducive to it. And in fact, Jnaneshwar in the Jnaneshwari says it so beautifully. He says the environment has to be very beautiful. The environment should be full of good breeze, right? The environment should be such that all the fruits in that environment are very, very sweet. There should be water nearby, right? The sun rays should be very tender in that place. The place should be thick with trees and there should be a lot of silence, right? So this is the kind of natural environment. But in our houses, we can choose the best environment, which is our altar ke samne. Wherever our altar is kept, if we can just go there and sit down over there, have a nice comfortable mat. Krishna says, don't sit too high, क्योंकि तुम गिर सकते हो. Don't sit too low, क्योंकि बहुत low रहा तो तुमको नींद आ जाएगी. So just at a proper height, sit on something that's very comfortable. Scriptures will say कि kusha grass डालो. Why kusha grass? Because it acts as a repellent to मच्छर, कीड़ा, जो भी होता है ना जंगल में. For that, what should we do? Put a comfortable asan. एक soft, अच्छा सा आसन लो, so that you're not uncomfortable when you sit down to yoga, right? Then when you sit in a nice meditative asan, right? If you can do Padmasan, sit in Padmasan. If you can do Ardha Padmasan, do that, or sit in simple Sukhasan. Fold your legs and sit in Sukhasan. Whichever asan is very, very comfortable, sit in that asan, because the aim is that during your period of meditation, you should not be uncomfortable. Correct? It's not कि सुखासन में अच्छा लगता है, पद्मासन में और अच्छा होता है, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. The whole idea of these asans is so that your body does not move and you're able to focus your mind on God. In fact, please be very, very realistic. If you have knee problems, please sit on a chair, right? Don't hurt your body. The idea, always remember in spirituality, words pe mat jao, tattva samjho. The tattva is that your body should not bother you. Your body should not be in an inconvenient position. All you have to do is sit motionless, sit erect. Keep your eyes focused on your nose. मतलब क्या? आंखें अगर बंद करोगे तो नींद आ जाएगी. आंखें अगर खुली छोड़ोगे तो you will see all kinds of distraction. So instead, half close your eyes. When you half close your eyes, आप इधर उधर देख नहीं पाते, so naturally the eyes will come a little low, so they'll start looking at the end of your nose. All you're doing is you're blocking out worldly distractions, right? Of course, if you go to the jungle, they say brahmacharya practice karo. But if you're sitting in your house for sadhana for 2 hours, then obviously all you're saying is, I don't want other distractions. Because meditation is a journey within. So don't be like, husband, utho na, mere saath meditation mein baitho. No, it's a single person's journey within, right? And that journey is something that we can realize only by experience. So don't try and involve too many people. Do this for yourself, right? There are no words to describe the experience that an Ashtanga yogi gets when he sits down in meditation. Because what he is experiencing is the Paramatma, ultimate supreme bliss. And to experience this, don't try and say, अच्छा आप करोगे ना तो मैं करूँगी, आप नहीं करोगे ना तो मैं भी नहीं उठूँगी. Don't do these things. Be selfish sometimes, right? And this is a selfish personal journey. To first understand, when I discover the Paramatma inside of me, then I will be able to guide others, right? Please remember, all of us, our mind is filled with lifetimes of garbage. through meditation, through sadhana, we are trying to cleanse that. And when we sit down in sadhana, we don't need people around us, because the focus of our meditation should be God and God alone. Krishna very clearly says, meditate on me. The focus of your meditation should be me and me alone. And modern times में ये बोलते हैं कि अच्छा तुम है ना बैठो and focus on your breath, or focus on a flame, or focus on void, focus on a dot. Right? All those meditation activities are to improve focus, are to improve concentration. But that is not the aim of meditation. Aim of meditation is to purify yourself. And for purification, you need to focus on God. तुम अगर एक बिंदु पे फोकस करोगे, yes, your meditation will be very good, but you're not going to be able to purify yourself. Right? So please focus on the all pure object, which is God Himself. Focus on the Paramatma within, and then you will be purified. Then other do's and don'ts. Krishna says that regulation of diet and sleep are very, very important. You cannot become a yogi if you eat too much or you eat too little. If you sleep too much or you sleep too little. You have to be able to eat enough and sleep enough. Please understand, the stress is on regulation of all activities. Avoid wrong eating. Once you set out on this spiritual journey, please try and eat grains and fruits and vegetables and milk. Right? Try and eat good soul food. And eat this food after offering it to Krishna. So eat prasad. Don't overeat because it's very, very tasty. Don't do unnecessary fast. Unnecessary अपने body के साथ strict मत रहो. युक्त आहार विहारश्च. Krishna says, don't overeat and don't do too many troublesome fasts. Right? Because your body, if it hurts, your mind will get disturbed. Right? But on the other end, don't become a slave to your tongue. Don't become a slave to sleep. है ना? तो फालतू की जिद में मत फंसो तुम. Are we clear? The verse, look at verse 6.17. I personally love this verse. It says, Yukta ahara viharascha, yukta cheshtasya karmasu, yukta swapnava bodhasya, yogo bhavati dukkhaha. If you want yoga to destroy all your suffering, then please eat ekdam balance mein. Please rest as much as is required. Please do enough work but don't overwork. Right? And please regulate your sleeping and your waking hours. Now, for that, please understand that Sonal might be okay with 5 hours of sleep. Varsha might need 8 hours of sleep. Right? Sonal might be okay with 1.5 chapati. Varsha might need 2 chapati. Okay? Sonal may be okay saying, I'm giving up sweets completely. Varsha may not feel complete if she doesn't have one little sweet at the end of her meal. So for both of us, our yukta is very different. So the two of us can't say, definitely we have to sleep only 5.5 hours every day. We have to control what we eat. So from now on, we're going to eat only 1 chapati every day. We can't do this. Right? So Krishna himself uses the word yukta. Whatever is appropriate for you. He does not say कि there is one, it's written in blood कि तुमको इतना सोना है, इतना खाना है. No, just regulate it. Be moderate in your food, be moderate in your activity, and be moderate in your sleep and waking hours. When you follow moderation, then you will be free from misery. We all know Gautam Buddha, right? First, when Buddha set out for enlightenment, you know what he did? He gave up complete eating and drinking and he sat down in meditation. What happened? He became all weak and he got all dizzy. He was finding it impossible to focus his mind in meditation. And we're talking of the great Lord Gautam Buddha. Right? And when he was struggling, his body is so uncomfortable and he's struggling to sit in meditation, some village women were passing by. है ना, उनकी गांव की जो औरतें थी, they were carrying water pots on their head and they were passing by, and as always they were singing a song. गाना गा रहे थे कि तानपुरा होता है ना, उसकी स्ट्रिंग्स टाइट करो, लेकिन इतना टाइट मत करो कि वो स्ट्रिंग्स टूट जाए. Tighten the strings of the tanpura so that the music comes out melodious. But don't tighten those strings itna zyada ki the strings will break. Gautam Buddha heard those words and he said, oh my God, these village women are so wise. They have spoken supreme words of wisdom and they are actually giving me a message. They are telling me ki Buddha, Siddharth, don't tighten your body इतने ज़्यादा austerity मत करो कि your body is destroyed, because ultimately this body is the vehicle that is going to take you to God, है ना? And that is when Siddharth, who then became Gautam Buddha, went on to preach the golden middle path. The golden middle path. Don't do severe, agonizing, torturing austerity. And on the other end, don't fall in the gutter of sense enjoyment. है ना? इस गटर में मत गिरो और उधर बहुत ज़्यादा तपस्या मत करो. Each one of us should decide what is our yukta, what is most appropriate for us. And if we follow that, then the mind will not be agitated. Are we clear so far? Right? We have to give our senses proper care. Only then the mind will be content. And then when the mind is content, then we can control it. Because when the mind is content, then it is not running around looking for more gratification. At that point, it can unite with Krishna. Right? Anyways. Okay, a very interesting verse that Krishna says. Verse number 19. He says, for the yogi whose mind is under control, right? He should be like a lamp with a steady flame. Yatha deepo nivatastho nengate somapa smrita yogino yatachittasya yunjato yogamatmanaha. Now, when you light a diya in your house, okay, let's say abhi aapne subah diya laga ke aap baithe ho, right? When you light that diya, the first thing we do is we put a glass ka covering around it, don't we? Why do we put that covering? So that the wind does not come and put off that flame. Correct? In the wind, what happens is the flame flickers. Similarly, if you are not going to go and sit in a quiet place, if you're not going to remove all distractions, then it's going to be like the wind. And in that wind, your flame of wanting to sit down in devotion is going to flicker or get extinguished. So what do we have to do? Just as we put a little kanch ka cover around our flame, we need to go to a clean, secluded place and focus on the Paramatma inside. When we do that, then the winds of desire cannot agitate us. Constantly remind yourself that I need to do this every single day and I need to do this for a long period of time, because Bhagwan jane how many lifetimes I've spent before this. How many lifetimes of samskars I'm carrying in my subconscious mind. Right? This subconscious mind of mine is like a go down. And it has pata nahi kya thoughts and desires brewing in there. And every time I'm practicing sadhana, what I'm doing is I'm pulling out one desire, I'm looking at it and I'm saying, go away, not interested. I'm pulling out another desire and I'm saying, not conducive to my spiritual growth, go away. Right? And so we need to do this over an extended period of time, and we need to do this properly. We need to do this till a point where our mind stops getting agitated. The power that an Ashtanga yogi has is that he does not get agitated no matter what comes his way. He remains steady. So even if then a great calamity comes, he is not shaken up. Right? And for this, for all of us, please remember, determination is very, very important. Like a few weeks ago, I told a few of you to start chanting. Right? I told Sonal 21 times a day. I told Bhakti 108 ka ek mal karo. Now you can't do this for 1 week, 1.5 week, 2 weeks and say, acha ho gaya, give up. No. Biggest thing here that Krishna then talks about is determination. If you want to be a successful Ashtanga yogi, if you want to be a successful Olympic swimmer, or you want to be a successful bhakta, doing bhakti, our determination in our sadhana is very, very important. छोटे से ध्रुव महाराज 5 साल के थे. What did he take with him when he went to sit in the jungle to meditate on Vishnu? He took along determination. जब तक विष्णु नहीं आएंगे तब तक है ना मैं छोड़ूंगा नहीं मेरी तपस्या. 6 महीने में विष्णु आ गए. Right? There's a story that comes in Nectar of Instruction. It's very, very sweet. There's a little sparrow. And the sparrow, she lays her eggs on the ocean. But the waves come and they carry her eggs and they take them off inside. The sparrow is very upset. She goes to the ocean and she says, Ocean dear, please, haath jod rahi hu, please return my eggs. Ocean is pe hasta hai, chal bhag yahan se. Sparrow says, Dekh, I'm telling you, I'm very pyar se I'm requesting you, please give me my eggs. Ocean says, who the hell are you? Hai na? Get out of here. Ocean says, again I'm telling you, give me my eggs or I'm going to dry up the ocean. Ocean laughs at her. Really? You little tiny little sparrow, Chimutai, you really think you're going to dry me up? What the hell is wrong with you? Get out of here. Sparrow does not give up. Determination. अपनी छोटी सी चोंच में है ना, in her small beak, she starts pulling water, putting it out, pulling water, pulling it out. Everybody is laughing. Everybody is saying, ये बेवकूफ़ी है, ये determination नहीं है, ये बेवकूफ़ी है. She does not give up. है ना? Sonal will say, whatever comes, I will do my 21 mal. You know, everyone will say, what rubbish, you're still getting angry, you're still getting agitated. Sonal says, I'm not giving it up. Okay? When the sparrow continues to, take a few drops and put it on the side, this news reaches Garud. Who is Garud? जो विष्णु को उठा के घूमते हैं, है ना? Vishnu's bird carrier, the gigantic Garud, hears of what the little sparrow is doing. Garud को दया आती है ना? Becomes very compassionate and he thinks, अरे, this little sparrow is my little sister. Let me go and see what's happening. Goes, sees what the sparrow is doing, and Garud is very impressed by the determination. And he says, Dar mat, I will come and help you. As soon as Garud goes over there and says, Ocean, ab I am on the side of this little Chimutai. Now what are you going to do? Are you going to return the eggs or shall I dry you up? Ocean डर जाता है. He says, भाई ये ले उसके अंडे लेके जा. Simple moral of the story is, if you are determined, God Himself will come and help you. So, in the initial phase, the practice of yoga might look very, very difficult. It is not possible on your own effort to get the eggs back from the ocean. But, if you show determination, God will help. And when God helps, nothing can stop you from reaching your goal. Are we clear? So no, we doing 1 mal, chota mal, bada mal, 16 mal, that is not what is going to take us back home. But our determination is going to attract God's mercy. Right? God helps those who help themselves. And when we get God's mercy, then we will definitely reach the supreme goal. Make sense? Alright. Anyways. So our firm determination should be to keep our mind from getting distracted. And whenever and wherever, so this is a very nice verse again. Okay. Whenever and wherever the mind becomes restless, one should keep pulling it back and making it focus on God. It's like, think of when your child was very little. है ना? Every time your child went a little far away, you let him go, like, the first 3-4 steps. दूर गया कि तुमने उठाया, वापस अपने पास लाया. So every time the mind wanders a little, hold your mind, bring it back. Sadhakas will often say कि यार, I try so hard to focus on God, but my mind goes everywhere else into the world. Krishna says, don't be disappointed. The mind is fickle. And we should be prepared that the mind will wander off in 1,000 directions. Right? But every time the mind wanders, we should be able to bring it back and focus it on God. That is why we have murti. That is why we have photos. So that we have something that our eyes can see and help our mind focus better. Right? When we see these, then our meditation is better. As we increase our meditation, we will see that our ananda is also increasing. The experience that we are feeling is increasing. Our inner transcendental bliss that we are experiencing, every time you feel, यार आज है ना मुझे बड़ी खुशी मिली when I chanted. आज मुझे बड़ी खुशी मिली when I put diya to God. Today I felt very happy when I read something nice. Right? That feeling of nice is because you just touched your Anandamaya Kosh and you've come back. And when we touch that Anandamaya Kosh means that we've experienced the Paramatma inside our hearts. Right? When we achieve that stage, then we know कि यार ये छोड़ के ना मुझे और कहीं नहीं जाना है. I want to always experience this bliss. There's another very beautiful verse, I think it's verse 28, where Bhagavan says, किसी, when you touch, यही संस्पर्श जहाँ भोगा, दुख योनय एवते. When we are in this material world, okay, when we touch bhog, when we touch material desires are pregnant with misery. It's like this. I'm a desi, right? I'm a proper desi. I'm married to a desi. When I get pregnant, my bachcha will definitely be a desi. Correct? Now, like that, there is a definite formula. So the formula here says, if you touch sense enjoyment gets pregnant with misery. तो तुम कितना भी enjoy कर लो, at the end of it, the result that you're going to get is misery. Whereas when you touch spirituality, Brahma samsparsha, when you touch anything on the spiritual path, that is always going to give you ananda, paramananda, supreme bliss. So please understand these two things. When you're engaged in Maya's service, you will most definitely, the fruit you will get is misery. When you're engaged in the service of Krishna, most definitely the fruit that you're going to get is ultimate happiness. Right? So these are very, very faith-giving verses. And through our entire meditation, through our entire practice, through our entire understanding, what we have to do is we have to start seeing the Paramatma inside us and then a reflection of that in every living being. Everybody that you see around you has Paramatma inside of them. Right? When we offer pranam, हाथ जोड़ के जब एक दूसरे को नमस्कार करते हैं, we are offering obeisance to whom? To the Paramatma in that person's heart, right? Namaskar. A soul is acknowledging the presence of the super soul in the other person. Right? Namaste. Sat Shri Akal. है ना? Sat is what? Truth. Shri is great. Akal. Timeless. So, Jo Bole So Nihal, Sat Shri Akal. So, blessed is that person who says, God is timeless. God is the absolute truth. See, in our sanskar, we see in every religion that we practice, everybody has always worshipped the God in everybody else. Right? And Krishna, we've already reached verse 30. Krishna says, कि for that person who sees me everywhere and sees all things in me, I am never lost, nor are they ever lost to me. That means, if a person is able to see Paramatma in himself, and is able to see Paramatma in his relatives, in his friends, in his ghar ka staff, in his pet animal, that person, Krishna promises, is never lost to me. Whenever that person is in trouble, God says, I will intervene and I will help that person. Right? Let's say someone hurts us. The Supreme Lord is sitting inside me, and Supreme Lord wants me to understand that person is only testing my patience. That person is only testing my tolerance. Right? And so the Supreme Lord inside me is now inspiring me to not react badly. Right? When I see, somebody doing something very nice for me, I can see, oh my God, that guy's Paramatma is so pure. He's so beautifully connected with his Paramatma, and therefore he's so kind to me and I'm attracted to him. Okay? Seeing Paramatma everywhere means in every situation of our life. If you are able to see, we'll see when people come into bhakti, समझो God forbid एक बुरा सा accident हो जाता है. I know a friend of mine recently had a bad accident, and her first reaction was, यार भगवान की कृपा देख, बच्चों को, हमको कुछ नहीं हुआ, सिर्फ गाड़ी को लगा. Why? Because you're able to see God's hand now, and that is how we progress in our spiritual journey. Otherwise कितना कोसते हैं ना कि यार अभी गाड़ी ली थी, गाड़ी पूरी खराब हो गई, ये क्या हुआ, वो क्या हुआ, this person is wrong, that person is wrong, God is not helping me, God is only creating troubles. इस सबसे अच्छा you were able to see कि बच्चे, हस्बैंड और मैं absolutely safe थे. गाड़ी तो क्या ठीक हो ही जाएगी. Right? So when you're able to see the hand of God in everything, then God says, you're never lost to me. This whole concept of empathy, being able to consider other people's joys and sorrows as your own. Right? We have that beautiful girl on the group, right, who keeps telling us about her maidservant. She has so much empathy towards her staff. Right? She feels that staff ka joy and sorrow is her own. Right? It's so beautiful. Why? Because she's able to see Paramatma in everybody. So yogi is simply a person who becomes everybody ka well-wisher. So when she says, I have 108, 216 people that I think of and pray for in my prayers, essentially she's like a yogi. She's able to look at everybody's joys and sorrows and will that the best happens in their life. She's able to pray for eternal benefit. Right? That is what a yogi is moving towards. Sabka sukh dukh samjho. Be kind to people. I mean, if you read Prahlad Maharaj ki story, what is Prahlad Maharaj saying? He says ki, so Hiranyakashipu has come, right? And Hiranyakashipu has said ki, Narsimhadev has come. Narsimhadev has killed Hiranyakashipu. And then Prahlad Maharaj offers these beautiful prayers. Narsimhadev is asking him ki, Prahlad bache, your father has troubled you so much, right? Everybody around you has troubled you so much. Now please tell me, what is it that I can give you? And what does he ask for? Does anyone know?
He asked to be in his lap.
Okay. And then?
And then he was given this position of a Tara in the sky.
That is Dhruv Maharaj. Dhruv Maharaj was made a Tara. Dhruv Maharaj wanted to sit on his father's lap. But Prahlad Maharaj ne kya manga? So Hiranyakashipu was this demoniac father, right, who has tried so many ways to kill Prahlad. He's thrown him off a mountain, he's got elephants to trample over him, he's got his sister Holika to sit in a fire and keep Prahlad on her lap so that Prahlad can be burnt, right? Because his father is a confirmed atheist. He says Bhagwan bhi hai hi nahi. And Prahlad says ki Bhagwan har jagah hai. Then Hiranyakashipu was asked, is God in this pillar? And Prahlad says yes. And then तोड़ते हैं वो pillar and Narsimhadev ji निकलते हैं. Narsimhadev is absolutely angry. He's so angry कि my devotee is being tortured. Ugram Veeram Mahavishnu. Right? That is the form of Narsimhadev that comes out, and Narsimhadev uses his claws, takes the guy on his lap and tears his chest open, kills him. Right? At that point, all the devatas assemble. Lakshmi Devi herself comes. Brahmaji prays to Narsimhadev. But Narasimhadev is so angry कि my devotee has been troubled. And that time Brahma ji pushes Prahlad Maharaj, छोटे से 5 साल के बच्चे, बोलते हैं भाई तुम अब सामने जाओ, हमसे तो संभलने वाले नहीं है नरसिम्हदेव, तुम सामने जाओ, तुम है ना इनको शांत करो. Narasimhadev goes with folded hands and he sings these most beautiful prayers to Narasimhadev, and Narasimhadev calms down. At that point, Narasimhadev asks, what is the benediction that you want? And he says, what I want is for everyone to be able to perceive God. I want everybody ka uddhar. I want my father, I don't want my father to suffer in hell. I want my father to be liberated. I want good for all these daitya ke bacche that I hang out with. So this is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. What I want is I'm a well-wisher of everybody else. मुझे अकेले नहीं जाना है. My prayer is not कि भगवान जी आप मुझे ले चलो, है ना, मुझे वैकुंठ में जाना है, मुझे गोलोक वृंदावन में जाना है, मुझे तो गोपियों के साथ आपके साथ रास लीला मनानी है. No. What I want is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. I want this entire Kutumbakam to enjoy that same ananda that I experience when I am connected with you. Right? So this is equal vision. I don't see them as papi. I don't see them as, sinful people. I understand, jo bhi unka past karma tha, they are born over here. But now that we've got a glimpse of God, I want them all to come back to you. I want them all to do very good sadhana. Right? That is what a true devotee prays for. All these great sannyasis that we have around us, right? It would be so easy for them to go sit in meditation alone, pray for their own liberation and go. And instead, if you see what Prabhupada did at the age of 70, crosses the sea, goes across to the US, takes on hippies and wants to give Krishna to them. Why? He could have gotten liberated himself. Right? But they say that the mercy in them is so great कि उनको लगता है यार I have seen God. I want everybody else to experience God. That is what a true yogi is. A true sannyasi is one who wants to give God to everybody else. Right? बोलते हैं सबसे बड़ी charity is giving the charity of Hari Naam. That is why if you see most devotees, है ना, वो अगर तुमको प्रसाद भी देंगे तो बोलते हैं Hare Krishna, because they know you will respond and say Hare Krishna. एक बार किसी ने भगवान का नाम ले लिया ना, उसका तो उद्धार वैसे भी होगा. Right? So all these things are how a yogi and a sannyasi actually benefit the entire world. So anyway, so what Krishna is saying is you have to leave home, go to a secluded place, practice Ashtanga Yoga, and that is how you have to focus on me alone and see everybody with an equal vision. Now Arjuna is like us. He's thinking, and then as always, anti-climax. Arjuna's mind is agitated. Arjuna's mind is restless. Arjuna's mind is unsteady. And he's thinking कि भाई ये तो मुझसे नहीं होगा. Sorry Krishna, आप जो भी suggest कर रहे हो ये बहुत ज़्यादा impractical है. I don't think it is possible for me to leave home. I don't think it is possible for me to go, in the jungle and practice Ashtanga Yoga. I think it is just impossible for me to follow all these yam, niyam, subdue my senses, give up all my desires, focus on you, see pebbles and stone and gold as the same. I think all this is impractical. You are saying, Krishna, ki control the mind. Control of the mind is the key to everything. But Krishna, the mind is so restless. We all agree? Our mind is very, very restless. So please open to verse 34. And please repeat this verse after me. Beautiful verse that we all should, enjoy. Are we there? Verse number 34. Chapter 6, verse 34. Chanchalam hi manah Krishna Ramathi balavadhrudam Tasyaham nigraham manye Vayoriva sudushkaram. So what Arjuna is saying, dear Krishna, the mind is chanchal. Very, very flickering. it is estimated that we get 60,000 to 80,000 thoughts every day, which roughly comes to about 3,000 thoughts per hour. That is how chanchal our mind is, and it is pramathi. Pramathi means it is agitated. Why is it agitated? Because it's attached to all kinds of rubbish, trivial stuff. तुच्छा आसक्ति है ना, यार तुमने ना मेरा पेन क्यों उठाया, मैंने पेन इधर रखा था तुमने उठाया क्यों? We get agitated, right? तुच्छा आसक्ति, this is rubbish. What happens if someone picks up my pen and puts it over here? But we tend to get agitated. And the mind is balavat. The mind is chanchal, the mind is pramathi, and worst thing is it is balavat. It is very, very strong. The mind is so strong that there are times when I don't want to do something, the mind pushes me to do it. And the mind is dhrudam. It is obstinate. It is rebellious. So Arjuna says, Krishna, please understand, the mind is restless, the mind is turbulent, the mind is obstinate, and the mind is very strong. To control the mind, Krishna, is more difficult than controlling the wind. Right? We all know this, right? Every start of the year, we all make resolutions. Hai, and we know how quickly our mind gets swayed. If we can't keep our simple resolutions, then really do you think we'll be able to do Ashtanga Yoga? Not practical. Hai, Arjun khud bol raha hai, controlling the mind is even more difficult than controlling the wind. Because in my mind there is a hurricane. Okay, so this is Arjun's prayer and our prayer. We all experience this, that to sit down in meditation is extremely difficult. Next week, Krishna will tell us, yes, I understand, but I will tell you how you can control your mind. Granthar Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki Jai. Thank you all for joining. Very, very beautiful. I can understand that today's class was a little boring because it didn't have too many verses. It didn't get you to participate. But please understand that if you're a crow, you can never appreciate the moon. You have to become a chakora bird to understand the beauty of moonlight. Now, all my references are coming from Jnaneshwari because I'm so excited touching this book over the last 2 days. Okay? So what Jnaneshwar Maharaj says is, unless we elevate ourselves and put in a little effort to pay attention and listen carefully and read and study, we will not be able to enjoy the sweetness that this scripture has to offer. This scripture is so sweet that our ear is begging for a tongue to relish the sweetness. Okay? So I'm sorry that sometimes classes get boring, but this week introspect and see how obstinate your mind is. How many times you've made a resolution and you've succumbed because your mind has led you to something else. And think of what it is going to take to make resolute decisions. Okay? So this week, just think about how important it is for us to make our mind our best friend. Thank you all for staying with me. Granthra Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki Jai. Thank you so much for joining.